Hey everybody, Cody Menz here. I have another WoT's new video for you. Not a whole lot with, special events and stuff going on since Wargaming's focused on the 1.10 update. It did have a third, basically public test update. I'll go over that in a moment here. Otherwise, just going over some quick little things happening in the community. Sheriff 3 mark rigging. There'll be links to everything in the video description below when it comes to the articles and videos that I'm going to link to here. And I'm also going to cover real fast the Progetto 65. Let me know your thoughts. Are they nerfing this a little bit too much? Me personally, I'm not sure to where I do agree the tank right now, it is a little bit good. It's definitely, at first I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of the Progetto 65. However, since it's come out, honestly, the tank line is really good. Usually for medium tanks, most people recommend it. It's one of the better medium tank lines through and through. And the Progetto 65, since it has the auto reloader shooting one shot at a time, or, dumping your shells out, it's performed extremely well. Are they nerfing it too much? Who knows? I'm going to go over the changes and let me know in the comments, your feeling on it. I still think that we kind of need to wait and see because, the changes seem massive. However, looking at the actual stats, I'll kind of explain why I don't think it's the end of the world. But if you think it's the end of the world, feel free to let me know. In any event, 1.10, third public tests, came out. Basically, the main changes, now 100 bonds per tank. You can get up to a tier 10. The battle communication system, they now added in features where you can actually change the volume level, and it's not just blaring loud unless you lower your master volume. It's actually reasonable. And they're buffing more premium tanks that are losing their gun rammers. Yay! Nobody asked for this, at least, I'm kind of disappointed that they're buffing premium tanks like the Progetto 46. EBR 75 is not actually going to be nerfed, and now they're buffing basically stuff like the T28 and the SU 76I. Yay, nobody asked for this. Anyway though, CS 63 now has side skirts on the side of the tank. Awesome. That tank need a little bit more to it. Minsk and Empire's border, WoT Express has a really nice video if you click over to their article here, where it has some fly-throughs of Minsk and also the Empire border changes, which are hopefully going to come by the end of the year here. Version 1.10 is going to implement emblems, decals, and basically little trinkets for your account for people playing 150,000 battles or more. I don't know how many of you guys have more than 150,000 battles. I sure don't, but they look cool at least. So, there's also a rumor for the Object 780, tier 10 Russian reward tank that might show up during the anniversary of World of Tanks coming up in August here. It's just a rumor. Honestly, I don't know. I think it might just be tied with a special game mode and not necessarily them giving it out or you being able to purchase it with bonds or earn it or something. But who knows? It's not anything completely broken or anything super duper overpowered or anything. I personally think it's still going to be for the next tier 10 clan reward in the campaign, but you never know, they might celebrate something special with it being the 10-year anniversary and all. True Voodoo has made some pretty good videos. There's part 1 and part 2. I recommend watching both of them if you have not. Again, link in the video description below. Basically, people are rigging 3 marks on the NA server using sheriff accounts. If you don't know what a sheriff account is, originally only community contributors had them for the most part outside of special events. However, many more people have them with more temporary sheriff accounts and also clan spotlight accounts. However, those temporary and clan spotlight accounts, you can actually pick the map you're going to play on and the game mode. So, bright idea. These people and clans specifically, why don't we pick, I don't know, Westfield or a certain map where I can platoon with my buddies, or I can play on my account and somebody can play on the clan spotlight account, and we can just farm the same map over and over and over and over using specific tanks to rig 3 marks. Because the sheriff account has a bullseye on it, people are going to YOLO you for gold, and you can definitely dictate the battle a little bit more so. Basically, there's clear evidence. True does a very good job explaining it. I highly recommend it. Really hope Wargaming, honestly, there's no way these people could be doing this without knowing that it was not actually like kosher or whatever you want to say right to do it. You're cheating. Honestly, I personally would just ban the people, just gone. But I feel like they should at least apply, like, they use their strike system. I hope they apply strikes to their account. I would honestly, it's just rigging. The game has such a bad history of rigging, like T22 and other event, people dropping in the South American server and rigging basically for platooning anyway, and basically throwing battles from the enemy team. That this is just, you have to be on a sheriff account, pick a map, pick certain tanks, play with your friends, and help them. There's this, these people should basically be gone. But True's videos, I highly recommend watching them. Otherwise, so last little bit, so Progetto 65. Now this tank, for those that don't know, you're getting some gun accuracy and on the move accuracy changes, and also it's losing the gun rammer option for the tech tree Italian mediums, and Wargaming caved into community pressure, and the Progetto 46 is actually getting the reload speed buffed as like if it had the gun rammer, even though it doesn't anymore. So it's actually getting a buff because now it has an open equipment slot for the next patch. But the tech tree ones, anyway, Progetto 65, is this tank getting nerfed too much? Not exactly sure. I think we're gonna have to wait and see, but honestly, I think the changes aren't gonna change the tank that much. They are gonna be noticeable, mainly the reload time. I don't think the accuracy changes hurt it too much, but we'll see here. So starting with these 4 tanks here, I picked, TVP, Batchat, because they have autoloaders, closest things to a Progetto 65 in that regard, and I just chose an M48 because it's just a generic single shot medium tank. These ones I'll get to next because I know my webcam's covering a little bit of the M48, but these first 4, just 100% cruise, have no equipment on it, no camo, no crew skills, anything. So mainly focusing on, so Progetto 65 accuracy. In this case, accuracy is good, 0.34. Yes, it got a little bit of nerf with the accuracy and on the move accuracy in 1.10, but it's not like shooting like a Batchat 25T or even an M48, which is a little bit derpy, but it's not pinpoint accurate. DPM, so Progetto, even before the change here, this is the basic DPM of a Progetto and reload. However, now you don't have access to a gun rammer. So just originally, stat-wise, you have a little bit less DPM than a Batchat 25T. Same thing with the TVP and the M48. Now, if you're looking at this, like just the basic stats, the DPM definitely sucks. And this is just based off of you shooting 1 round at a time. Your DPM's pretty low. Now, the thing is, like, you can shoot all 4 shots and then your DPM is absolutely atrocious. Or, you shoot the 1 shot at a time, which you still have less than your single shot M48. You have a little, not 2 rounds a minute, but like 1.5 rounds less DPM, comparable to the Batchat, and the TVP you have basically about 1 shot's worth less DPM based off of 360 damage. Now, when it comes down to it, like, you don't notice a change here if you don't factor in equipment. So moving into these 4 tanks, this comparison, these, if you look at this, which I just clicked the wrong thing, I've done this like 3 times now. I got Brothers in Arms on here, vents. Same thing with the TVP and the Batchat. I didn't want to do anything super crazy. I just focused on what affects the gun, basically reload time for the most part, and no food. M48, however, so vents in the improvement slot here, and a gun rammer. Because, a lot of people are going to use this setup for an M48 because it buffs your gun. So when it comes to the difference here, you still notice little bit more accurate than, say, the M48, significantly more accurate than the Bat Chat here, at least, you know, just using this bare minimum equipment. Now, when it comes to the DPM, this is where Bat Chat, you know, it's basically in line with the Bat Chat still. TVP, you're still pretty much the same gap from you into TVP, because all these tanks have just fence on it. However, you'll notice with the M48, your gap has widened to where you had about, I think it works out to be about 77% of the DPM of an M48 just with your basic stats. Now, with the Progetto losing the gun rammer, it works out to be, I think, about 69%, I believe, of the DPM it actually works out to be. Even though the gun rammer reduces it by 10%. Just doing some quick math, that's at least what it came out to be. I could be completely wrong. My math teacher is currently asleep, so I can't have her check. In any event, though, what I look here is, it is a nerf for the Progetto. But right now you have a tank that has good gun depression. The mobility, you know, is pretty darn good. It's up there with the Bat Chat, and when it comes down to it, it is a little sluggish with the engine speed, but it's still faster than, say, like an M48. And like overall, it's a pretty darn good tank, and it does kind of overperform when it comes down to, you know, the actual stats and, you know, damage wise, because it is super flexible. You have that auto reloader that you can't really, you know, weigh on paper, you know, when you look at like the DPM and stuff, because unlike the TVP and the Bat Chat, you have to shoot all your shots before you reload. Whereas a Progetto just starts reloading. Sometimes you only shoot that one shot or that two shot, you know, two shots and stuff. But the way I'm kind of thinking of it here, like I personally feel like they should have increased the reload a little bit. You know, for taking away the gun rammer, maybe increase the load. Say if it was like a 10% axe here without the gun rammer, maybe buff it by like 5% or something, because it might be a little bit too much. But like if they did that, you know, in a way though, now the Bat Chat compared to what we currently have on the live server, you know, this now has less DPM than the Bat Chat, whereas on a live server with the gun rammer you have about, I think it's like 100 or so more DPM. So it is definitely going to be a nerf. However, I feel like this is a buff for some mediums like the M48 as well, which if you think about like tier 10 mediums that are kind of like forgotten about in a sense, you know, the M48, E50M, 121, the Centurion Action X, since these tanks have gun rammers, it's kind of a buff for them. But the Progetto, honestly, like, yes, it's going to be a nerf to it, but I'm not sure how much it's actually going to change the way that the tank plays, because, you know, the tank already had low TPM. Now it's a little bit lower. However, overall, I feel like, you know, it's not going to hit it super hard, but you just don't know until it comes out in a live server. Let me know your thoughts in the video description or video comments. Oh my god, it's super late here, because I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and like I still feel like it might be a little too much, and I'm just focusing on the tier 10 here because it's way too much going through all the tanks. But I can kind of see though, you know, with that auto reloader and that X factor, where, you know, honestly it just might work out where it might just end up being fine. It's one of these tanks like you can't basically grasp it on paper because of all these variables. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. I think next week I might cover basically some map strategies coming out, you know, with some changes. I already have Pearl River, and I also have Progetto up on my website, and I'm going to try to work on the basically Cliff and Ruinberg changes, hopefully, you know, by the time the patch comes out. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys. Have a good one.